Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn. I got to tell you, this is maybe the least talking I've seen you done in the longest press conference in the entire time I've seen you do press conferences. I mean, did you feel like they were stealing the show from you up there? Did you have any work to do today?
I mean, Bill and Evans have been amazing. You know, sometimes you're trying to goad stuff out of fighters. That was just I'm going to sit back and enjoy it. You know, you just keep the order a little bit. And we could have sat up there for probably a couple of days, really, debating the fight. And, you know, everyone's done a great job in the build up to this fight. You know, the content, the promo, the arena, Matchroom, DAZN, and this is what you get when you get it right. When you have a great fight, when you have a great promotion, you sell out the arena, you do big numbers, and I think this is a big night for US boxing coming to San Francisco, a new city, and just, you know, I mean, look, we rolled the dice, and we hit the 6.
I think also the fact that both fighters really, even though they weren't doing the majority of the talking at the outset, had something to prove.
Yeah.
Right? Devin Haney, although being an undisputed champion, coming up at 140 pounds, still has doubts. When you hear the criticism about the Lomachenko fight, and you hear from the other side he can't take a punch, do you think these are things that Devin Haney still has to prove?
It's hard that do you have to prove anything when you've won the undisputed championship? You know, when you've flown to Australia in someone's backyard and beaten him, and whatever way you want to look at the Lomachenko fight, it was a very close fight, right? Now you're moving up a division to try and become a 2. I think, like, I've worked with Devin a long time. I know he wants to take the challenges. He wants to test himself. He's never ducked a fight. I think if he wins on Saturday, you really have to start saying this kid is a generational talent, you know, but I think it's a very tough fight.
So strategically, say he has never ducked a fight. Was 140 pounds Regis Prograis really the best fight he could get, or is it the only fight he wanted?
Yeah, what other fight could he get?
Well, this is what I'm asking, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, like, you can fuck around and you can chase fights that don't exist or people messing you around, or you can say, basically, Devin Haney was like, I will fight anybody at 140 with a belt. And luckily, Regis was up for it. And we went to Devin and we said, you've got a guy here, Regis is dangerous. He's a WBC world champion. Do you want it? And he said, absolutely. He would have said yes to Tank. He would have said yes to Teofimo Lopez. But these guys, you know, they mess around. And sometimes if there's a deal to be done, jump on it. And that's what Devin's done.
And for Regis's sake, is this the smart fight? In other words, he's got a title.
I mean, look, Regis has always wanted to be in that big league. This is the fight to put him in the big league. And that's what makes him very dangerous in this fight. Like, it's a big financial opportunity for him, but he's not looking at the money for this fight. He's going, when I beat Devin, I'm going to make 3 times that to fight Ryan Garcia and those guys. And he thinks this is the fight that's going to give him what he's always dreamed of.
And as much as Devin Haney brings the style, you know, he is undisputed, I think even he would say that he hasn't gotten the credit or maybe even the pay-per-view kind of draw that he hopes to be yet. Is this the fight that can define either fighter in that way?
We've seen it, you know, and make one thing clear. Ticket sales translate to pay-per-view sales. I know that because I've done, I'm going to say hundreds, probably close to 100 pay-per-view shows. Every time we sell well at the gate, it delivers on pay-per-view. Now, I'm not saying this is Canelo against Triple G, but these numbers will be very solid on Saturday. To sell 16,000 tickets in a city that has not had boxing for 20 years. Like, let's be honest, not one person, not even on our team, or in boxing, believed we would sell this place out for this fight.
Both fighters are taking credit for that sellout.
Yeah. They should, and everybody should. The job of everybody. I mean, you know, for me, it doesn't really matter. Fighters have to sell a fight, right? They have to. I'm not saying they have to talk their shit, but it helps. Do you know what I mean? Don't be afraid to be outspoken. Don't be afraid to get involved and build a narrative. It doesn't, like, you know, I just had a journalist go, oh, were you worried up there that it was going to get... No, they're not. Listen, I'm not saying that these guys aren't capable of all kicking off the teams. Yeah. It's not that vibe. It's more, we believe we get, you know, that everyone's playing a game. It's real, but they're still, you know, they're just enjoying it. Like, it's part of the show. You understand?
Well, Regis feels like the game you're playing is on the Haney side. It feels like, you know, he's just an actor in this thing, but really you've got designs for Haney to win the fight. Obviously, you're in the middle. You're promoting both guys. After this fight, is it more advantageous for Matchroom and Eddie Hearn for Devin Haney to win this fight?
Not really, because Regis's contractual position is a lot clearer. You know, Devin, we have options on, stuff like that. So it's like, honestly, I say I don't care who wins the fight. I don't even thought about who I want to win the fight. I have a long relationship with Devin over probably the last 4 years. We are close, so I can't deny that. But also, I like Regis. And when I sat down with Regis, I said, I'm going to deliver you a homecoming fight, then I'm going to deliver you a mega fight. I've done it. I don't really like having two guys in the fight because I won't be screaming and shouting for anyone. You know, I won't be celebrating. I'll just say, boys, I've done my job. It's over to you.
You have a plan for each fighter, respectively, were they to win?
You're the man in the division if you win this fight. You've seen, you know, people talk about Teofimo Lopez. Imagine Teofimo Lopez coming to San Francisco and doing a fight. Come on. Like, he can't sell out the theatre in New York. He's from Brooklyn, and he's an unbelievable talent. So the winner of this fight is the man at 140. And I think they're going to go on and have a mega fight.
Before I let you go, I got to touch on some of the recent history in boxing. Obviously, you had Demetrius Andrade. He got his shot on the big stage. The Benavidez fights obviously didn't go the way he had hoped, but it did seem like he was a little bit too small for that fight. Is there a future now for Andrade at 160? Is there still an opportunity at some stage for him to fight Canelo?
No. I mean, I think that Andrade's a great fight. Like, he's been paid a lot of money. He's had a good career. But I felt, and I said Benavidez would stop him. I just don't feel like Demetrius is robust enough to fight a big 168 like that. And for all the skills he's got and the movement in the early parts of the fight, we see him even against Liam Williams get a little bit overrun by a middleweight. So Demetrius is a guy that has tremendous skills, but I don't think he physically can handle those big guys at 168. And I think 160 is too tight for him. I don't see him moving back to 160, but he can beat a lot of guys at 168.
I know you said you didn't have anything for him, so you didn't begrudge him, moving to the promotion that is necessary. Is there anything you can do with him now?
Not really, no. I mean, look, we had a good run with him. I thought we looked after him well, and we loved the guys and the team, but, I'm glad he got his opportunity, and, I'm sure he made a lot of money, and I don't see him boxing for too much longer, but I think he's still a tremendous talent.
It looks like Canelo is obviously still going through the PBC deal, and Benavidez is the fight that everybody wants to see, while they're looking at options that don't include Benavidez for May. First of all, why do you think that is?
Because it's the toughest fight out there for him, and you leave that one till the end. Honestly, he has a 3-fight deal, so they're going to want to bank the money from the second fight in an easy fight, and then they'll roll the dice against Benavidez. It's a very, very tough fight.
Has what Benavidez did against Andrade make you think that he is a tougher opponent for Canelo in September?
I mean, I know how good Benavidez is. I think the win against Andrade, the win against Caleb Plant. I always said that. I feel like if Benavidez fights, sort of earns the shot, Canelo will fight him. Let's be honest, he's earned the shot. It's a big fight.
The big fight that, of course, we've been talking about for years, but we're closer to now. I'm going to see both Wilder and Joshua in the same ring. Not at the same time, but as close as we've ever gotten to them being in the same ring at the same time. Like you say, all right, so there's a hurdle to the big fight. How dangerous is that hurdle?
Very. I mean, the Otto Wilding fight, 6 weeks out, southpaw. He's coming off a win against Gassiev in Russia. It's a dangerous fight. I mean, Joseph Parker, an easier fight, but even he is on a good run. He's got his head switched on. And Wilder's been out for a long time. So I'm very confident that if both guys win on December 23rd, you'll see that fight. But let's see what happens in Saudi Arabia first, and hopefully both guys get through.
What do you think of the PBC? And
I've heard it's a revenue share. I don't think it's a rights fee deal, which is very difficult to, get the numbers right and act. But I think great for boxing. I think anytime there's a new platform that comes into boxing, really good, and just shows how powerful the sport can be. So hopefully there can be a big investment from Amazon, and we can keep these big fights coming.
And lastly, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since Ngannou Fury. Do you believe that Ngannou has made enough of a statement in that single fight to be considered a heavyweight contender?
It's very difficult because, in my opinion, Francis Ngannou can get beaten by anybody in the top 100 in the division.
Top 100?
Yes.
So why did Fury struggle to dominate him? His
mind weren't there. I think he's regressed as a fighter. You have to give credit to Ngannou. But what I'm saying is if I'm Ngannou now, when you say is he going to be a force in a heavyweight division, he's only really thinking about the Fury rematch or Joshua or Wilder, because you can't fight. He could lose to anybody, right? And he's not going to risk it for $5 million or $10 million. He has to cash in the big one. So you're not going to see him try and compete and become a world heavyweight champion. You're going to see him fight in MMA and then just hold on for Tyson Fury at the end of the year. And he deserves that. He's done amazing. I mean, I wrote him off completely. And he won the fight, in my opinion. And really should have got a decision for the greatest victory in the history of the sport. But it is what it is. And, you know, good luck to him.
If you're feeling Ngannou beat Fury, how are you feeling about Usyk's chances against Fury now?
Styles, mate. But Tyson Fury wasn't at the races or switched on at all for Ngannou. He will be for Usyk. But still seeing that, I give Usyk more chance. The problem is Usyk's not a puncher. Tyson Fury's punch resistance is definitely going. So I've always believed in that. And more so now than ever, Joshua wins that fight. But it's irrelevant. You know, I do give Usyk more chance, but I still expect Tyson Fury to come through.
Joshua now having Ben Davison in his corner, you know, kind of making a round robin of trainers. You've been in the sport a long time. That's not usually a good sign. How is this beneficial to Joshua?
The key is the fighter being comfortable and confident, and he is. So I'm happy with that. I mean, you know, the problem is we had 6 weeks. What he couldn't do was fly out to Texas, you know, spend a week becoming acclimatized, then 3 weeks later fly to Saudi. It's like a disaster. So he'd been training with Ben Davison. He's very happy with that. Decided to stay in the UK. Ben Davison's been in the opposite corner to Otto Warlin for the Tyson Fury fight. Joshua feels fantastic. You know, it's not that deep. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I know in an ideal world you want to work with a trainer for a long time, but Joshua's long in the tooth. Like, he's not, one thing Ben's not going to do is look to change his style. Just get the game plan right, give him the confidence to go in and execute it in a dangerous fight.
You know, forgive me if I'm trying to be pop psychology, but Wilder was talking about Joshua's mental state, and we know that Ben Davison came with Fury at a time when he had some, you know, mental stability that he needed to fortify. Is that at all part of this relationship?
I think you answered your own question. Overanalyzing something that's completely irrelevant. It's a fight. And the key is being comfortable with what you are doing in the ring. Not how you are meant to, like, for AJ, it is, do you know what you've got to do? Yes, I do. Thank you, go and do it. The problem comes is when you doubt the game plan, or you're like, that's the Usyk 1 fight. That was, I'm going to outbox him, but he's saying don't outbox him. And actually when the bell goes, it's like, okay, what am I actually doing here? When AJ has a game plan, he executes it. Ruiz 2, probably the best example of that. Usyk 2 didn't quite execute it, but was a good fight. And Usyk's a pound for pound, great. The key in the Warlin fight is understand what you have to do to beat this guy, understand the game plan, go and do it. Not how are you mentally, you know, it's a fight. And this guy's been doing it for a long time.
Well, what Matchroom has a game plan, they execute it, and we're seeing that in 23. We'll see that in 24, hopefully.
Always, baby.
Continuation. Radio Rahim with Eddie Hearn.